So I didn't really want to be here today, but we felt that somebody should come out and do this. I just want to take 2 seconds before I start and try and dedicate this to Alice. Personally, I'm going to miss her terribly, and I know that many of you will also. And I knew with all the Yorma going on, I was eventually going to catch that death ain't got no mercy, and it certainly is true. But I'm going to try and do this talk for Anna, because she was really psyched about this stuff, and she never finished her slides, though. But we'll see what we got. So I'm Rob Allen, but I'm not on the page here. So I got these slides about 3-4 hours ago. So I've been through them once with Craig over the phone, but I'll try and do as well as Craig would have done, but temper your expectations somewhat. The idea of this talk is really looking at reachability in the internet. And as Craig put it to me, he said it's kind of like the Vermont farmer. Some tourist from New York has gone up to Vermont and he's asking some farmer how to get to Montpelier from where he's at. And the farmer kind of looks around and scratches his head and goes, well, you can't get there from here. And this talk is really looking at that question from a routing perspective and reachability. And it's looking at the assumption that is actually not true, that if you buy transit from a provider, that you're necessarily going to get reachability to the entire internet. What we found was that due to a variety of different things, different competitive strategies, peering disputes, failures, misconfiguration, what have you, was that there are significant splits and partitions in the internet that actually never go away. So just to get kind of a definition straight, what we're looking at is we call it dark address space, and it's really some range of topology that's accessible from one provider at least, but is unreachable via one or more competitive networks. In other words, it's sort of the one-sided differences in internet provider topology. The methodology for this, past studies have often focused on internet topology from like snapshots or from a single vantage point in the internet. What this work has done is, and I should also sort of say this is a work in progress as well, is that it's taken a long-term view of the differences in topology and routing by looking sort of at a continuous kind of comparison of a routing table from a bunch of different providers. And these providers are sort of like around 20 or so. They're sprinkled both geographically and topologically around the internet, so we get a pretty good view of what's going on. These are through multi-hop and local EBTP feeds. We complement this with some active measurements. What we're doing is we are, for example, we're taking PGP and trace routes and pings from various looking glass services around the network to probe into the dark address space and looking for things. So this is the methodology there. I want to start out with 2 observation slides here. What this graph represents is the default prefix table at a number of from various provider feeds, tier 1 feeds. And what we see in the steady state is that there's a significant difference in the sizes of the routing tables, up to say 30K differences in some points. Now, common wisdom sort of expects that the difference is due to aggregation or the policy, right? It's not really reachability of the problem here. So what we've really done here is we've dug into this a little bit deeper to make sure that in fact, is it aggregation that causes this difference in routing table size, or is there something that's actually there with respect to reachability? And that's sort of the first observation. And we did the same thing from an AS perspective. We were looking for the number of unique AS origins over time that were being announced from the various providers as well. And you see a significant disparity here as well. And the question again was, are there ASs that you aren't able to see everywhere, or routes to AS that you aren't able to see that are split between providers? And we're going to attempt to try and answer this in some way. So we define partitions in this talk. We're trying to distinguish between, say, short-lived, transient, partitions due to failures or the fiber cuts or what have you, and separate those away from sort of persistent long-term partitions in the internet space. True topological partitioning or persistent oscillation would be the second case there. And we define partitions to have these 3 properties. The first is that it's reachable via one provider. And reachable, we mean there is a BGP advertisement from that provider, and we're able to either ping or trace line with that provider from the origin glass service. The second is that they lack but they lack exact, more, and less specific advertisements from one or more competitive networks. And third is they exhibit some sort of a long-term persistence of sort of stable partitioning.